Guys, if you trade stocks or even thinking about trading stocks, you got to check out the #1 stock screener, DDAmanda. Find winning stocks and make money. If you like this video, please hit the like button, the thumbs up, and subscribe. We got a lot of good stuff coming. Okay, when these impellers go bad, people really replace them, but on the 250 they don't make these anymore. Okay, now this is a good impeller because it's got a top to it. Okay, it's got a thing. The new ones, all they got is these vanes, you know, and they'll tend to they can break off, and once they break off, you're pretty well fucked. Now the way these work is there's this part here. I don't know if you can see it. You see that little raised part right here, little square there? Well, that's what hits or rides up against this to turn the impeller. Okay, it's supposed to spin. I tried gluing them together and it didn't really work. Now the problem is that sometimes this end right here, okay, this end right here, it gets rounded out on the bottom, and then what will happen is this part that's supposed to spin around will go underneath of it and it'll fuck it up. Okay, so step one, if you still have this part, okay, this part right here, what you can do is take an X-Acto knife, and that's what I did to this one, and make this flat again. This edge that where it hits right here, make that flat again with an X-Acto. I use surgical scalpels. They're the best. Okay, that'll work. Now, if this has come off and broken off, the next way to fix it is with a pin. Okay, now this is a sewing needle, a pretty thick one, and what you do is you heat it up with a lighter, okay, and you press it down right in here. Okay, you gotta get it pretty hot, red hot, and press it down, and it'll melt right into here, and then it'll give something for this little tab here to go up, you know, to turn it. Okay, and it'll be pretty strong. Now you can throw some JB Weld in there afterwards to, you know, straighten it out, but it has to be, you know, this level, the shaft level. You see that? It has to be the level of the shaft. I mean, where this can hit it. Okay. And what I did I fixed, this is the second one I have. This one I think is going to work once I flatten that edge right here. And the other edge, I think it just rides on this edge. But you see I carved some away there and I made this flat. I actually beveled it this way a little bit so that the bevel doesn't let this tab go underneath it. You know what I mean? And what you can do on these sewing needles, if you have the tools, is flatten them on this side and on this side, and then put them in to where the flat part is going to hit this little tabby guy. Okay, but it's a little tricky. I know it's tricky, but if you heat it up, you can drive this. It'll just melt this plastic, and it'll just sink right down into there. Okay. Alright, I hope that all made sense. But anyway, yeah, inspect these and see if you can figure out how to make them work again. The one that I put the needle in, so far it's been working for a day now. So we'll see what happens, and if that one fucks up, I'll redo it and I'll just try this one. I think this one's going to be good. Okay. Okay, I wanted to draw this impeller so you guys get a better idea how it works. So let's just draw the shaft. Okay, the shaft is like this. Okay, and right there it has a part that comes up, a little tab on it. All right, and this is what turns, and this end right here hits up against the impeller. Now the impeller is bigger. Okay, let's draw the impeller itself. So the impeller is like this, but on an end view it has a part that comes out like this. Okay, all right, that's part of this. It's long. So we're looking at the bottom. Okay, so what happens is that this shaft turns, it hits up against this and turns the impeller. okay? Now let's blow this up right here. Okay, so you got your tab, right? And then you've got your impeller tab, okay? Now what you want to do is, what happens is this gets rounded off, and then this slips underneath this, okay? It's like, it gets fucked up, and then this tab slides underneath this, and then it stops turning, alright? So with an X-Acto knife, you can trim this part here, okay? And what you want to do is, this is the shaft tab, is you want to angle this so it's a little bit like this, okay? Get it? You don't want to do it this way, because if this, hits up against it, it'll slide underneath. But if you angle it just a tiny bit this way, okay, now this is going to hit here, and as it wears, it'll tend to maybe flatten it out more, but it won't be able to slide underneath here. You get it? I hope that's fucking clear. You see what I mean? See? And this needle is the same way. So if you have your shaft tab, right, and then you melt a needle into the impeller, okay, then your needle is like right here, okay, and you need to get this needle down, down to the level of, as close to the level of the actual shaft as possible, okay, because you want this right there, you see that? You want this needle as low as possible, and if you can, flatten this end of the needle and this end of the needle with sandpaper or something, or whatever you got. And make sure it gets down low enough, okay? Because again, if this tab is like this, right, and your needle's up here, it can tend to slide underneath here, and then it won't work anymore, okay? So you got to get this needle, when you melt it, down, 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 as close to the shaft as possible. So it's like here, if you can, Alright, I hope that makes sense. Okay, so what you do is you heat this up. First you make this little bar out of a needle, and I flattened a little bit on the with sandpaper on my grinder. I flattened this side and this side. So I'm going to try to heat this up. And then push it down into this. Okay, I fixed this impeller and it worked for a while, but what's happened now is, remember how on the previous video I had it with the forceps and I heated it up with the lighter and I melted it in. It melted in really well, and I thought maybe, just maybe, that would be good enough. But watch what happens now. What's happened is I unplugged it and I plugged it in again, and now look what happened. See that? It slides underneath. So because of my laziness, and because I didn't back this up with JB Weld, it fucks up. See that? I also flattened this with sandpaper on both sides, to make this a flat edge, so that when it hits, it comes up against something flat. This is a sewing needle. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this down with my little pliers here, get it down, and then, okay, and it seems to be hitting there pretty good. Just want to make sure that this is down. It should really be down a little bit more. And then I'm going to back it up there. That's about right. And I'm going to put some JB Weld right in here. Good old JB Weld right in here and back this up. And hopefully that'll keep it from, coming up to where this can slide underneath it. So, trusty JB Weld, baby. Accept no substitutes. This is the kind. JB Weld always works. Takes a long time to set up, but, you get what you pay for. So, let's mix this up. When did that shit start, and how are we going to solve it? Where you make a statement and turn it into a fucking question. What's your name? Hans? What's your name? Elizabeth? Elizabeth? You'll notice it. Fucking turning a statement into a fucking question, So, let's put a little bit on here. And hopefully that will stop it from rising up again. And I should maybe even that should be good. Let that set up in the sun, it'll probably set up quicker. It might be too much. I hope it doesn't run out. I could probably use a pair of hemostats to clamp that down. I think it's going to be okay. And then I broke this the other day, working on the tree house. Might as well glue that. I love JB Weld. It's the kind, Alright, that's it. Clean this stuff up. And set that right there. Let them sit up. Okay. I got all my plants in the garden. This place is almost empty. Got a few more things to throw in there. Okie dokie. Everybody that tries DDAmanda absolutely loves her. These are all unsolicited, by the way. We didn't even ask people. I love you guys. Yeah, I love the program. So worth it. Probably made 500K. This guy's up 30K. Having everything I need to research on one page is definite time saver. Single day, 1525 profit. 15K on my first DD. Look at this guy. I don't know what to think about this one, man. This guy says he made 30 million. Read this shit. I don't know. He sounds kind of legit. I fucking love DDAmanda. Your program is the best tool I've ever used in the last 21 years. It just goes on and on.